What's up, Grindtime family? You already know. Today we're gonna go over how to warm up effectively. Now, if you're new to this channel, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share it with a friend, because you already know I'm trying to spread the knowledge, spread the truth, so you already know. Let's get on to the content. Now, when you're foam rolling or using a lacrosse ball, we only want to be spending 30 seconds per muscle group. So for instance, if I'm foam rolling my lats, I'm gonna hang out there for 30 seconds, switch sides, move on to the next muscle part. So that way we're not like going into this recovery mode. We don't wanna do that, especially when we're trying to prepare for training. Now, step number 2 is elevating your heart rate. Now, I'm not saying do something super high intensity or anything like that. Elevating your heart rate is gonna be super crucial to preparing your central nervous system, promoting blood flow through your body, and getting your lungs warmed up for your training session. Now, you might ask, why is that important? Simply being, if let's say you warm up at 60% of your capacity, your body's not gonna be the most strong, the most powerful it can be when you're lifting weights or performing a Metcon. You definitely want to warm up your 100% where you're breathing a little bit hard, you're sweating a little bit, and you feel like your muscles are engaged, you feel there's blood flow through your body, you feel loose, you feel lubricated like a 1960 Mustang or something like that, you know what I mean? You wanna be ready to go for that training session. Now, the third step is preparing for what you're going to do. Now, this is super crucial to the task at hand. So for instance, if you're gonna prepare for Olympic lifting, you wanna be doing lifts or prep movement that's gonna be super specific to the ollie lifts for the snatch or clean jerk. If you're preparing for a Metcon or a CrossFit type workout, you wanna be doing movements that are specific to elevating your heart rate and making sure like you're huffing and puffing a little bit harder to get that motion going. If you're preparing for squats or some general work, you definitely want to be going through that full range of motion. So these are things that you definitely want to consider and think about. Now, to sort of all piece it together, we're going to dive into an example of how you can implement that within 10 minutes of your training session. All right, guys, so step number 1, the foam roller. I love using this pre-workout just because my back can be tight, my hips can be tight, my hamstrings can be tight. So I'm definitely gonna show you how to foam roll with it, and I'm gonna talk through it. So with the foam roller, we're gonna go ahead and rest it on the floor. Starting with the lats, you're actually gonna rotate to your side. And I like always extending my arm up with my palm facing up. So that way, I'm definitely getting a deep target towards my lats. So from here, once I'm ready to go and I'm situated with my upper back, I'm going to lift my upper body, and then I'm gonna start rolling back and forth. Usually, I'll set a 30-second timer, but if you don't have the time in front of you, you can think 20 to 30, I'm gonna call them strokes, where you're going back and forth. Now, if you find where something that's like tender, you actually wanna hold it right there, and then you wanna concentrate on that area until you feel like it's starting to loosen up, and then from there you'll move on. Then from there, I'll rotate and then make my way to my upper back. I'll cross my arms to make sure I'm getting a targeted range of motion through my entire back. I'll actually lean from left to right to help me mobilize. And then from my upper back, I'll make my way down my hamstrings and my calves. And you'll definitely find it when you first do it, it's gonna be super tender. So starting with the calves, I'm gonna lift my body weight up, and then I'm gonna roll up and down. Once I find a spot that's tender, I'm gonna actually hold it right there, and then I'm gonna point my toes and then flex, point, flex. And just go back and forth like this to help me loosen up that knot. I'll go left and right, and just basically repeat that same thing over and over. Then once from there, I'll roll it up onto my hamstrings, bring it onto my hamstrings, roll back and forth, same process. And this should definitely last for about 20 seconds for your 2 minutes for your entire body. Now from there, once I'm done with the roller, I'll set it off to the side. Step number 2 is gonna be dynamic stretches. So we're not doing anything static. We're not holding there for a long time. We wanna think dynamic because we're preparing to be active. So starting off with the Spider-Man, one of my favorite exercises. Spider-Man, we're gonna have to be at the top to push up. You're gonna bring your foot outside, rotate to the ceiling, bring it back, and just alternate your arms and your legs. for about 30 seconds just to get through that range of motion. Now, the second being, we're gonna go over the Samson lunge. So you'll be actually standing to start off with. You'll take a step forward. You'll twist to the direction of your foot and just alternate legs to help you get a deep stretch going on your hip flexors. And then lastly, one of my favorites is gonna be the down dog, where you'll start at the top of the push-up, squeezing your body tight. You're gonna go ahead and drive your chest forward and then reset back to that plank. Drive your chest forward and then reset back. So this actually isn't the traditional down dog, but basically it's almost similar where we're starting from the plank, driving the hips up to get that deep stretch in the backside, and then pushing our head through and then resetting back. Now that's step number one. Step number two, now we're gonna dive into step number three to elevate the heart rate, prep for the movements that we got going on for today. All right, guys, now step number three is gonna be elevating your heart rate, getting the blood flowing, getting the mind right, ready for your training session. So now, if you have access to an airdyne, a rower, running, or even a jump rope, you can definitely implement that in your training sessions. But if you don't, I'm gonna give you a body weight alternative to get after it. Now, 21-15-9 is a great rep scheme to implement your warm-up. If you are newer to working out, you can definitely implement like a 15-12-9 rep scheme, or whatever you need to for the day. But to start off with, 21-15-9 of inchworms and jumping jacks. Those two movements are one of my favorite ways to get going, because not only are we going through a full range of motion, but we are also elevating the heart rate. Now, inchworms, you'll start off with having your feet underneath your hips. You'll place your hands on the floor, walk them out to the top of the push-up, and then walk the hands right back in. Now, if you wanna turn this up a notch, you can go ahead and bring your body to the floor, press back up, and then walk it back in. That is your inchworm right there. Now, all the way down and all the way up. Now, jumping jacks, super simple, one of the classic ways to get going. You're gonna start off with your hands and feet together. You're gonna go ahead and jump and clap over your head. And that's your jumping jack right there. Now, as you're going through your warm-up, you definitely wanna think, you wanna be huffing and puffing, you wanna be sweaty, you wanna feel like, all right, like I'm about to get ready for training, but you don't wanna feel like you are burnt out or exhausted. There are two different levels right there. One is like you're going at 70% effort, the other one being like you're going at 90% effort, and we don't wanna be at the 90% effort. Now, after you hit that should have taken about maybe 3 or 4 minutes, super fast, super quick. You should feel like your muscles are like prime time and they're ready to get after it. After this part, you wanna dive into anything specific that you're gonna do. So for instance, if you're gonna be squatting, if you're gonna be Olympic lifting, you should be definitely doing a few reps of those given movements. And that right there is how to warm up effectively. All right, guys, now that right there is how you warm up effectively. Now, whether you're the regular gym goer, you train at home, or you train in a class, you definitely wanna keep these three principles in mind. You don't wanna be just going through the motions, because you could definitely get hurt doing that. Now, if you have any questions, be sure to drop them in the comments below. Send me a message, because you already know I'm here to help. If you haven't done so, make sure you check out my previous video on how to perform sumo deadlifts. Sumo deadlifts are one of my favorites, so be sure to check that out. Now, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. This is Steve from Grindtime Strength. We out here.